nobody expected it, not after all these years. But now, the impossible is happening. Graham Wardle, the beloved actor behind Ty Borden, is making his long-awaited return to Heartland in season 19. Fans around the world are shocked, thrilled, and filled with questions. How is Ty coming back? What does this mean for Amy, for Lindy, and for everything that happened since his death? This is more than just a plot twist. This is a turning point that could change everything you thought you knew about Heartland. For years, the absence of Ty Borden left a void that no storyline could truly fill. His tragic death in season 14 shattered the hearts of millions. Viewers mourned not just the loss of a character, but the end of a love story that defined the soul of Heartland. Amy's quiet strength as she navigated life without him became the emotional core of the series. But now, in season 19, that story is being turned on its head. Graham Wardle's return was kept tightly under wraps. No leaks, no rumors, just silence. Until now. His comeback is not just a simple reappearance. It's a bold, emotional move that the showrunners have crafted with purpose. The first few minutes of the season begin with an energy unlike anything we've seen in years. There's a quiet storm building, a sense that something big is about to happen. Amy stands in the fields of Heartland, doing the same chores she's done 1,000 times before. But there's tension in the air. She turns, sensing something. And there he is. Ty Borden. Alive. Real. Not a dream, not a vision. Just Ty. But this isn't the same man who left. The years have changed him. His eyes carry pain, regret, and something deeper. Mystery. Where has he been all this time? Why now? Why come back after so long? The questions rush in, overwhelming Amy and shocking viewers. The emotional gravity of the moment is powerful, but it's just the beginning. Ty doesn't speak right away. He just looks at Amy, and she looks back, frozen between disbelief and heartbreak. That silence says more than any dialogue ever could. Word spreads quickly. Jack sees him from a distance and nearly drops the coffee mug in his hand. Lou stops mid-sentence during a meeting. Tim storms out of the barn, unsure if he's seeing a ghost. But it's Lindy who delivers the quietest, most powerful response. She stares at the man she only knows from photos. No rush to hug him, no forced drama, just confusion, awe, and an innocence that breaks your heart. She doesn't remember him. How could she? He's her father, but a stranger all the same. Meanwhile, the fans are left reeling. Is this really Ty? Or is something more complicated at play? The writers don't give away answers easily. They make us sit in the moment, feel the tension. This is classic Heartland. Deeply emotional, slow burning, and real. Nothing is rushed. Every expression, every pause is loaded with meaning. And then slowly, the pieces begin to come together. Amy asks him where he's been, her voice barely more than a whisper. Ty's answer isn't direct. He talks about pain, about being lost, about needing time to heal from something we don't yet understand. There's a darkness there, a secret that hasn't been revealed. And that's where the suspense really starts to build, because this isn't just a reunion, it's a mystery. A puzzle with emotional stakes so high that every moment matters. We don't just want Ty to be back, we need to know how and why. Is there a hidden past the family didn't know about? Was Ty protecting someone? Or did he simply walk away from everything he loved? And if so, can that ever be forgiven? One thing is clear. Season 19 is not playing it safe. The return of Ty Borden is not a gimmick. It's the beginning of a powerful new chapter that will test every relationship on the ranch. And for the first time in years, viewers have no idea what's coming next. Ty's sudden return doesn't just stir emotions, it cracks open old wounds that were barely healed. The quiet strength that Amy built over the years starts to shake. Her world, once steady even in its sadness, is now spinning with questions. She had found a new rhythm with Lindy, and recently, a sense of emotional comfort with Nathan. But Ty's presence changes everything. There's no clear answer in her heart, only a storm of memories, guilt, love, and confusion. And as the news spreads across Heartland, everyone reacts in their own way, adding new tension to an already fragile situation. Jack, the rock of the family, is speechless. At first, he refuses to believe it. That boy was gone. he says under his breath, staring out into the distance, but Ty stands before him, real, breathing, older, worn down by something he hasn't yet shared. When they finally speak, it's not joyful. It's not even forgiving. Jack demands answers, not just for himself, but for Amy and Lindy. Why didn't Ty reach out? Why let them suffer if he was alive? And all Ty can say is, "I wasn't ready." Those 3 words hang in the air, heavy and unsatisfying, but they're honest. Meanwhile, Lou tries to keep the family from falling apart. She's always been the planner, the fixer, but even she can't make sense of this emotional earthquake. Her protective instincts flare, especially for Amy. She remembers the nights Amy cried herself to sleep, the birthdays Lindy spent asking about a father who was gone. Lou isn't ready to forgive so easily, but she sees the conflict in Amy's eyes. The part of her that wants to scream in anger, and the part that just wants to feel his arms around her again. Lou knows this is Amy's battle, but it still hurts to watch her sister struggle between hope and heartbreak. And then there's Tim. His reaction is explosive. He doesn't hold back. "You don't get to walk back into this family like nothing happened," he says, voice raised, eyes filled with fire. For Tim, Ty's return is not a miracle, it's a betrayal. The anger he held for years comes pouring out. He blames Ty for abandoning Amy, for making Lindy grow up without a father, and for leaving them all to carry the weight of his absence. But as much as Tim shouts, there's something deeper. Fear. Fear that he was never able to protect his daughter. That maybe, just maybe, he failed her when she needed him most. The ranch itself feels different, like it's holding its breath. The animals sense the tension, and the once familiar routines feel strange. Ty walks through the barn, touching the stalls, remembering the past. Ghosts linger in every corner, not just the memories of his own life, but of everything he missed. He sees Lindy drawing quietly in the hay. He doesn't approach. He just watches, unsure of how to be a father to a child who doesn't know him. It's heartbreaking, but it's real. And then comes Nathan. He wasn't there for Ty's return. He didn't see the look on Amy's face, didn't witness the silence that followed. But when he hears the news, he doesn't panic. He doesn't run. Instead, he walks to the ranch with the calmness of a man who knows what's coming, but isn't ready for how deeply it's going to cut. He finds Amy sitting alone, eyes lost in the sky. She doesn't know what to say, and Nathan doesn't ask her to. He simply sits beside her, offering his quiet support. But it's clear, he's already made a choice. He won't fight for her love, not in the middle of a storm. "You need time," he says gently, "and I won't stand in the way." This level of maturity makes Nathan one of the most compelling characters this season. He's not the jealous boyfriend or the dramatic rival. He's the man who loves Amy enough to let her figure out her heart, even if it breaks his in the process. And that adds a whole new layer to this emotional drama. The questions keep building. Where was Ty all these years? Why didn't he come back sooner? Is he here to stay? Or is this a temporary visit driven by guilt? The writers give us just enough to stay curious, but not enough to feel settled. Ty isn't talking much. He's observing, absorbing, and most of all, hurting. There's pain in his silence and secrets in his eyes. Season 19 isn't rushing anything. Every scene breathes. Every conversation is loaded with subtext. It's not about action, it's about emotion, about what happens when love collides with loss, when hope returns without warning, and when a family must decide if they're ready to forgive what they never understood. And so, the aftershock of Ty's return continues to ripple through every character, every relationship, and every corner of Heartland. But this is just the beginning. The truth behind his disappearance is still buried, and when it surfaces, it may bring more heartbreak than healing. The mystery surrounding Ty's return isn't just an emotional wave. It's the thread pulling everyone into a deeper, darker story. For Amy, Jack, Tim, and even Lindy, questions now scream louder than feelings. But Ty? He carries a silence heavier than words. Everyone wants to know where he's been, why he vanished, why he let them mourn him. But the truth, when it finally begins to surface, is not simple. It's not noble. It's not even easy to accept. One evening, Ty finally sits down with Jack in the quiet of the barn. The air is still, thick with years of unspoken grief. "I didn't die," Ty says quietly, "but a part of me did." Jack listens, fists clenched, jaw tight, but he lets Ty talk. And that's when the truth begins to spill. Ty wasn't in witness protection or on some heroic mission. No, he was lost in every way that matters. After surviving a near-death experience, Ty suffered a mental collapse. Disconnected from reality, plagued by guilt, anxiety, and trauma, he wandered through treatment centers under a false name, refusing help, refusing to reach out, convinced he was better off forgotten. "I couldn't face what I left behind," Ty confesses, eyes hollow. "I didn't think I deserved to come back." That hits Jack like a punch in the gut, not because Ty was weak, but because he understands. Jack had his own battles, and he knows how deep pain can bury a man, but even understanding doesn't erase the damage done. Jack doesn't hug him. He just nods once. That quiet gesture says more than forgiveness. It says, "You still have a lot to fix." Amy hears this truth next. She doesn't cry, not right away. She just stands there, staring at Ty like she's seeing him for the first time again. "You thought we were better off without you?" she asks, her voice cracking, not out of anger, but disbelief. Ty nods. "I thought I was protecting you from a broken man." Amy's eyes fill with tears. "You weren't broken, Ty. You were hurting, and we could have healed together." But deep down, even Amy knows. There are some wounds so deep, healing becomes a lonely road. Lindy's reaction is the hardest. She doesn't understand the words. She doesn't need to. What she knows is that her dad was gone, and now he's back, but still feels far away. Ty tries to reach her gently, without pressure. He offers her a hand, a smile, even a small wooden horse he carved during recovery. She takes it, but doesn't smile. Not yet. Kids see through everything. They know when love is real and when it's wrapped in guilt. Ty knows he has to earn her trust, not demand it. And that's exactly what he begins to do. Lou, meanwhile, still watches from a distance. She wants to believe this story of redemption. She wants her sister to find peace and her niece to have her father. But she also fears what this truth will do to all of them. Nathan is caught in the middle. He could walk away. He probably should. But he doesn't. He continues to help on the ranch, even when it's awkward, even when it hurts. And it's that quiet loyalty that earns him unexpected respect from Jack and Tim, men who know how rare it is to put others before your own heartbreak. Then, we learn something no one expected. Ty wasn't just lost, he was being kept away. In one of the centers he stayed in, his identity was suppressed after a security breach. It wasn't just mental illness, it was manipulation. Someone made sure he stayed off the radar. A former enemy, a corrupt doctor. The clues are few, but they exist. And suddenly, the story takes a deeper turn. Maybe Ty didn't just vanish. Maybe someone helped make him disappear. Now, it's not just about forgiveness. It's about uncovering the full truth. This twist ignites something in Amy. For the first time since his return, she feels not just pain, but anger. Anger at whoever took those years from her, from Lindy, from the whole family. Jack vows to get answers. Lou starts digging through contacts, and Ty, slowly regaining pieces of his memory, begins to remember faces, places, and flashes of events he once blocked out. Tim's rage takes a new direction. He wants justice now, not just apologies. And suddenly, Heartland, the quiet ranch where healing always lived, becomes the center of a storm much bigger than heartbreak. There's a reason Ty came back now. There's a reason the truth is only surfacing now. And that reason may be more dangerous than any of them imagined. But even as the mystery deepens, so does the healing. Ty helps Lindy with her horse. Amy and Ty share small talks. Awkward, emotional, but real. The porch becomes their meeting place once again. They don't sit too close. They don't hold hands. But they share silence. And that silence says, we're trying. We're not who we were. But maybe we can still find something new. By the end of this section, one thing becomes clear. Ty's return wasn't just about love, it was about truth. And now that truth is spreading like wildfire, forcing everyone to confront not just what they lost, but what they still have to fight for. The truth, once uncovered, doesn't sit quietly. It demands to be faced. It shakes the walls of Heartland, touches every corner of the ranch, and forces each character to confront not just what has been lost, but what could still be taken. Ty's return may have begun as a miracle, but it has now become a call to action. And in Season 19's most powerful arc yet, healing transforms into reckoning. Jack is the first to act. With a quiet resolve, he begins retracing Ty's lost years, visiting the treatment facility that buried his identity, questioning doctors who once claimed they didn't know his name, and discovering inconsistencies that reek of a larger cover-up. What he finds is chilling. A security breach did occur, yes, but there was no random accident. Someone specifically erased Ty's identity from the system, flagging his records under an alias. Someone wanted him forgotten, not just missing. Amy feels it too. The clues pile up. A visiting therapist recalls a man named Eric Dawson, who looked just like Ty, broken, confused, and guarded. A letter, never sent, addressed to Amy, was found locked in a drawer, written in Ty's handwriting. It said only one line: "I still dream of the porch, the stars, and you." That one sentence breaks her completely and strengthens her. Meanwhile, Ty begins to remember more. Flashes of men in uniform, a forced transfer, a signature on a release form that wasn't his, a mysterious woman who whispered, "You'll thank us later," before disappearing into the night. Amy urges him to dig deeper, but Ty, still fragile, hesitates. "What if I don't like what I find?" he asks. Amy answers simply, "The truth is never worse than the lie you were forced to live." The storm comes next, not metaphorical, but real. A massive thunderstorm strikes Hudson, flooding nearby land and forcing the Heartland family to work together again. Horses need shelter, fences collapse, and the river threatens to breach. It's a return to the physical challenges that Heartland has always embraced, but this time, they fight with more than strength. They fight with purpose. Ty and Nathan are forced to work side by side. There's tension. Of course there is, but there's also something else: respect. Nathan finally says the words no one expected. "She loved you first, but she's not just your past, she's her own future." Ty nods. "And I'm not here to take her back. I'm here to find myself." In that moment, both men understand. This isn't a love triangle. It's a crossroads, and Amy is the one who will choose her direction. Tim confronts a government official linked to the medical facility. A name surfaces: Dr. Lena Carrington, a once trusted psychiatrist with political ties. Rumors say she was involved in experimental trauma programs for veterans and survivors. Ty, though never enlisted, may have been mistaken for someone else, or worse, used as a case study without consent. Tim's rage boils over, but it's Lou who calms him. "We don't fight with fists," she says. "We fight with truth, with exposure." Together, the family begins gathering evidence: old records, witness testimonies. Even Lindy, in her innocence, draws a picture of Ty in a white room with no windows, based on a dream she says she had. Amy holds the drawing with trembling hands. "Maybe it's not a dream," she whispers. As the pieces fall into place, a final confrontation looms. Dr. Carrington is located, living quietly under a new name. Jack and Amy travel to meet her. What they find is shocking. She doesn't deny anything. In fact, she confesses. "We believed we were helping him forget pain," she says coldly. "But pain is what makes people real. I see that now." Amy, holding back tears, replies, "You didn't erase pain. You erased love, and that's unforgivable." They leave without revenge, but with evidence, enough to ensure that no one else suffers what Ty did. Back at the ranch, Ty finally finds a quiet moment with Lindy. She hands him the carved horse he gave her and says, "I named him Brave." Ty asks, "Why?" She answers, "Because he came back." That's the moment Ty knows. He belongs here. Not as the man he was, but as the man he's becoming. The final scene is on the porch. Amy and Ty sit beneath the stars, just like they once dreamed. She doesn't reach for his hand. He doesn't lean in. They just sit. together, in silence. And in that silence, there's peace. Not resolution, not certainty, but peace. Season 19 of Heartland doesn't end with a wedding, a kiss, or a fairy tale. It ends with truth. And sometimes that's the most powerful ending of all, because from truth comes healing, and from healing, a new beginning. What do you think Ty's future should be? Will he stay, or will the truth lead him somewhere else? Let us know in the comments. For more powerful Heartland stories, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications. The journey isn't over. It's just getting started.